We welcome them as part of the dialogue about how to keep Roblox safer.
I want to highlight we have always had safety as one of our top priorities, and we're not waiting for the law or legislation. We've innovated with age estimation on our own because
1984 Roblox.
This whole situation is kind of crazy.
Everybody go donate to this boy Schlep.
This is probably the worst decision this company has ever made.
Hashtag free Schlep on God. Yeah, they actually need Schlep.
I'm wishing Schlep the best.
Roblox, you need to do something.
There's gotta be something done.
Nobody at Roblox listens to us. I'm frustrated, man. I'm frustrated.
Why should we support a platform that is taking steps to prevent predators from getting caught?
And you know what? We were talking about this before, just being a sad circumstance, just that it exists. But this is a company that decided to put profit over people in the most obvious way. And they got hit because they're publicly traded. And $12 billion got wiped out on their market cap because they decided, instead of giving this guy a job and making him head of safety or whatever, a head marketer, an ambassador for the game, no. Let's ban him. Let's make it so this is a PR nightmare. Disgusting.
Roblox has just lost $12 billion in market value following their response to their cease and desist letter against me. Just for context, I'm someone who's gotten 6 predators within their community arrested in real life. That loss, though, isn't on me. It's a direct result of Roblox's own response to its child safety crisis. Instead of addressing the real issues, Roblox has doubled, tripled, even quadrupled down. They've put out statement after statement painting me and my team as reckless vigilantes while claiming that their platform is safe, when it absolutely is not. People are just seeing through this, and that's why a huge movement has started online called Free Schlep. It's been trending everywhere. Multiple members of Congress have now called out the company's child abuse problem, and the Attorney General of Louisiana has filed a giant lawsuit against the company for, and I quote, prioritizing user growth, revenue, and profits over child safety. The day after the Attorney General's lawsuit was filed, Roblox's market value dropped by $12 billion. In response, the company scrambled to roll out new policies targeting the very not safe for work games featured in the lawsuit and my videos, like for instance bathroom simulators. Mind you, the community has been calling out these games for years now, but still, even after everything, instead of removing these blatantly inappropriate experiences, Roblox simply slapped a 17+ label on them. They also launched a ban wave against some of the worst games they've knowingly hosted for years, games that have led thousands of children to getting extorted, and worse. Roblox's actions are nothing more than damage control for the problems they've allowed to fester, when the entire community was screaming at them to fix these problems. And the community saw that killing the messenger was an act of war. Shortly after these changes, Roblox released a video so bad that it was community noted on Twitter twice. David Baszucki, the CEO of Roblox, Matt Kaufman, the chief safety officer of Roblox, and Eliza Jacobs, the senior director of product policy, did a 45-minute tech talk. Most of this,
I wish that they talked about the child labor that they do. The fact that they pay the kid programmers, I think it's 25 cents on the dollar, for their hard work and labor, making their jobs easy, aka making the games for their game.
If I was looking to invest in a stock, that sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah, the only one that's legal child labor right now.
Right.
It's honestly such a good way of doing it. Is you're just like, AI is not quite there yet for developing games. You can't vibe code your way into a Roblox edition quite yet, but we can have children do it at just exorbitantly lower rates than minimum wage.
is just corporate jumbo, but they go ahead and respond directly to their vigilante policy. Before I show this, I want you to remember, I'm the only person that Roblox has targeted with this vigilante policy that they just created. Not even my team was moderated or given any legal letter. I've begged for a clear line and even offered to keep much of my work private to help, and I'm no way obligated to do that, but instead, they went straight after me, moderating my accounts and sending a cease and desist before I could even react to the policy. And let's be clear about one thing, I'm not a vigilante. That means I'm taking the law into my own hands. We work with law enforcement, which is why we have arrests. Roblox refuses to say my name because they'd have to acknowledge those arrests. But make no mistake, they're responding to the outrage, which is about me, and this is what they had to say about it. They first start off the interview by talking about how vigilantes started out as a good thing.
Both inside of Roblox, and I think that there are lots of people outside of Roblox who really have the
best intentions and the welfare of our community at heart. We all want to keep Roblox safe. And you know what? We welcome them in part of the dialogue about how to keep Roblox safer. And we have members of the community in these vigilante groups that started off in a really good place. They started off by saying like,
what is he trying to say like went wrong with this guy catching predators on their platform? Like he's saying it like there's like a twist, like they started off well intentioned and now they're doing something terrible. It's because they're gonna represent what he was doing, and they're gonna say that he was approaching people instead of being approached. They're gonna say that he was impersonating minors versus just using the decoys and stuff that you're supposed to. They just move the goalpost and try to make it not about what they did wrong and make up completely irrelevant and literally non-factual points about what Schlep has to the cross he has to bear for his vigilantism.
Yeah, they're just going to twist the truth and somehow turn a guy doing their job for them into a bad thing.
And yet there's this guy over here, Alex Neutron, that exists as the person that made Meep City just a known like a predator infested game that's not safe for work in a very forward game. Even if they have like the 17 plus labels that they put on some games, it makes absolutely no sense to allow this in their stuff. And then they have one of the ways that he does this is he makes it so
content. And that is the problem with Deep Simple. The creator of this game wants these people in their game. How is this even controversial? The developer is giving the tools to the player to make this inappropriate content. And
he's doing that obviously because that makes him the 25 cents on the dollar. So Meep City is this guy's brainchild. And
what a cutie pie.
I've seen this guy before, and I don't want him to be in charge of a not safe for work. Look, there's the guest Wi-Fi right there.
Are you saying you wouldn't want this person working at your child's school?
No. No.
Oh.
I mean, not after I know that he made Meep City.
Not even the computer lab?
No, especially not in the computer lab. So yeah, they're going to say that he's impersonating people, and he's just not. They mischaracterize all the work that he did and all the good that he did somehow, some way as negative, and put the blame and the onus on him rather than their platform for, having people like Latino Chrome here. And these guys honestly have a special place in hell for the fact that they just continue to allow this. They say that, they're the people leading the conversations where like Schlep and his team are, where in fact it's the opposite. It's the people that they're trying to go for. They're the people that interact first, and then they're like, oh, hey, I don't know anything. And it's crazy that they allow this, and they are somehow, some way thinking that this is going to be like, he has all these receipts. You know what I mean? This is a very popular video right here. And there's already people that have been charged, right, for crimes like this. So it's not like they're unaware of the problem at hand. What's great, though, is Schlep is now
the True Blue Streaming Crime Network. We do a lot of crime and investigative reporting, or documentaries, including
Chris
this
Hansen
particular project,
adjacent,
exposing the sort of thing that goes on Roblox.
I wanted to ask you about some of the comments that Roblox has specifically stated about like predator catching. One of the main complaints is pretending to be a child. I want to know your answer. It's kind of obvious, but the importance of using decoy accounts to just find different predators.
Well, we couldn't do it without using decoy accounts. In the very beginning, we had an online watchdog group, Perverted Justice, do that work, and now, and for the last several years, it's been members of law enforcement who have posed as children online, merely sitting in one of these areas, and they wait to be approached by somebody who is seeking to exploit children. And then the conversation takes place. It all happens according to the law, and then that gets turned over. Now, I understand that anytime somebody is not with law enforcement, it gives pause to a corporation. It's like, okay, here's this kid. We don't know whether he's following the rules properly. We don't know if he's running this via a lawyer. Maybe you could argue that they just don't want that sort of activity on their platform, but you think they'd be more worried about the activity that you're exposing.
Right.
That's what I've been trying to get at this whole time.
Let's worry about that, number one, and then you can have a conversation with young Schlep. I mean, if I were the CEO of Roblox, I would make you an ambassador for security. I would get out in front of this thing and do what would be a fantastic promotional move.
Yeah, he's so much smarter than anybody that's on their board or anything.
Yeah.
If Chris Hansen was in charge, Roblox would be worth way more money.
Right. They're just too twisted to think about these just very logical, normal human thoughts. Like, reward the person that found and did away with horrible people in our game and did our job for us. No. Let's prosecute them instead.
Because there's so many. I would imagine what this leads to me to believe is that most of the traffic they have, or a substantial portion of their profits and traffic they have, is through these sort of predatory games,
right.
The not safe for work ones, the ones that children should not be exposed to, or likely their parents wouldn't want them being exposed to, especially given that their expectations with Roblox is quite the opposite of what these games are. And there's, because the fact that they try to just sweep it under the rug like this and then double, triple down and quadruple down like this, it really makes me feel like it's at least 20% of their profits is just coming from these illicit games.
Right. It must be. It's just so overtly not something you'd want in your product.
Yeah, it is like their user base is going to just go down and like their stock would be hit anyways. And so they're just like, well, damned if you do, damned if you don't. Let's be a CP game, I guess. That's
right.
crazy.
Like, we have infinite amounts of money. This kid doesn't. Let's just try to fuck him over.
Right. And they didn't know that over 500,000 likes, including me, and 7 million views in 4 days. So young Schlep is probably perfectly fine in this situation. I think that he'll be good. Just the cease and desist doesn't mean that he's getting sued, by the way, either. That's just telling them, that's just the company saying stop doing what you're doing. And if you continue doing what you're doing, legal actions will very likely be pursued against you. And so that's good. At least I think that they're pretty dumb for this. If you look at the viewership that he's had, this has only been huge for him and bad for Roblox.
Right. About $12 billion of bad.
It might be worse now. Who knows?
I hope so.
Who knows, dude? Let's Roblox stock.
It's like they're up 50%.
Right, it just rebounded. So where's? Oh wow, it did rebound.
Damn.
So there's the drop right here is what we're talking about, and it's rebounded up to here. So they're fine. Yep. That's actually really upsetting.
They're probably fine.
Because so here's the 12 billion that everybody was talking about. Is this because he released it on the 22nd, right? He was talking about the 21st. So when it's right here at about 1:15, and it was about 1:30, so $15 off of it, whatever that percentage is, times the market cap. You could do the math. I'm not going to do it right now, but they've gained most of that back. So if they lost, if it was that 15 or whatever, then they've gained back $8 billion, and it's only 4 now because it's at 25, right? So
looks like the people over at Roblox are doing the right thing.
Yikes! All I'm going to say is yikes, and we're going to turn it over to not necessarily a happy story, but more of like a lol cow kind of story. And it's about Pirate Software.
Killer downfalls in YouTube history. Pirate Software. How everything is built over the years is unraveling right in front of his eyes, and it's only getting worse with each passing day. Since, while being supremely arrogant is bad enough, Pirate Software might even get in legal trouble for defrauding his audience. Now, I've already made a video going over the major controversy that initiated his downfall, but if you haven't watched that video yet or need a refresher, here's a quick recap to get you up to speed.
Sick, thanks.
Pirate Software, aka Jason Thor Hall, is an ex-Blizzard employee who, after allegedly working for the US government as a hacker for a bit, decided to develop his own video game in 2017 called Heartbound. He also started streaming his game progress on Twitch and uploading clips from those streams on YouTube Shorts. These shorts blew up big time, allowing him to gain millions of new subscribers on YouTube, over 80,000 paid subs on Twitch, and even break the Twitch hype train record 4 different times. But then 2025 rolled around, and Thor managed to destroy the goodwill the internet once had for him. First, by causing his friends to lose months of progress in a hardcore World of Warcraft game and refusing to take accountability.
Just wants me to sit down, grovel on my knees and be like, "I'm so sorry, Mr. Yamato. It was all my fault, the mage."
And then by taking a stance against the Stop Killing Games initiative, which would stop game publishers from killing games people had already paid for.
Oh shit, now this is actually really dumb. It's used car salesman garbage. This is shit. It's shit. Not only do I not want to back this, I'm going to actively tell people not to.
This was the biggest turning point. People didn't really care from what I've seen. The biggest thing was the Stop Killing Games when people really started turning against him.
Same. That's when I heard about him too.
The other thing was probably like it was the quick successions, and then it really runs in threes because the third thing, hopefully he talks about.
Understood the whole movement on a fundamental level, and then used some of the harshest language he's ever used to speak up against it.
That is a horrible goddamn direction. That's awful, dude. No, eat my entire ass. The level of stupid that I just had to receive was like sitting on Twitter for 12 hours. This shit sucks. That's a really stupid ass move. That's an incredibly stupid ass move.
Which, by the way, the whole Stop Killing Games initiative is literally just requiring game developers to make their game playable without like an internet connection.
Yeah, it's pretty annoying. There's certain games that I've encountered that exact thing, and it is really annoying where it's like the servers are no longer going to be available and stuff, and so you can't play this game. You're like, wait, this is online somehow?
Yeah.
You're like, what?
It's really basic. It's just you can use the thing you bought. Is all it is. That's all it is.
And he's like, no, this is used cars salesman bullshit. He's just he's a very arrogant, narcissistic seeming guy.
I think this is ass.
Also, a guy named Thor being that skinny, scrawny, like nerd guy is pretty funny.
Yeah.
This is complete garbage. All of this can eat shit then.
It's got a Thor voice.
I dropped the mask entirely.
Very true.
I have no qualms about that. They can eat my entire ass. The whole thing.
His viewers were shocked at him blatantly rejecting something they thought was good. Right. Thor, on the other hand, continued posting more videos, doubling down on his take. But then, some of the biggest creators on the platform, like Charlie, Jacksepticeye, and PewDiePie, voiced their support for the initiative. This only made Thor look worse by comparison, making the whole internet, including his audience, turn against him. Now, Thor had a chance to retain some of the trust his viewers had in him, despite the overwhelming amount of backlash he was receiving.
All right, everybody, do we think that he turns it around?
Yeah, I bet his stock price goes up.
You think it goes back like it goes back up a little bit at least, like the Roblox stock? That's what you're saying? If you're watching right now, go ahead and put down what you think.
All he had to do was admit that he was wrong, but not only did he not do that, he stuck to his guns, regardless of how wrong he was. He was caught lying about his games getting review bombed because of the controversy, making him look even more pathetic than he already did. Now, at the end of my last video, I posed two possible futures for Thor. He could either admit that he was wrong and turn things around, or stay stubborn and turn into the perpetual lolcow of the internet. And from the looks of it, he's chosen the second option, which has not only earned him more hate, but has prompted people to take a deeper look into his life, starting with his reputation as a master coder, and what they found was shocking to say the least. It started when a
Shout out Coding Jesus.
YouTuber named Coding Jesus, whose main content is him dissecting people's code and pointing out issues, decided to review the code for Heartbound in a video titled, "I Reviewed Pirate Software's Code, Oh Boy." And as you might be able to judge from the title, he didn't really have any good things to say about it, with him even going as far as to declare Thor's code to be worse than most entry-level interns.
Imagine removing all of these comments. Would you, as a newly added game developer to his game project, have any idea that one is Shelly? You would have no idea. This would never ever be allowed in a production repository, and like I've been hinting, it's below what you'd expect of a bottom tier intern.
Thor, however, didn't appreciate the constructive criticism and handled this review in the only way he knows how to.
It's just another like YouTube grifter trying to fight for relevance, dude. That's all that shit is. All too common these days.
However, there was something Thor said that was uncharacteristically reasonable for him and actually made some sense.
It's just a bunch of disingenuous arguments put up in bad faith trying to make me look like a bad programmer. And in reality, this guy has never used the engine that I'm working in, never used the language that I'm working with, and all of his points are moot as a result.
From an objective point of view, his reasoning here for why Coding Jesus wasn't able to understand his coding style, because he's not a game developer, seemed sound.
It's not.
That was until another YouTuber, Quinn Theo, decided to get Coding Jesus on a call and dissect Thor's arguments together. They began by analyzing Thor's comments about Coding Jesus' very first critique, with Coding Jesus explaining how Thor doesn't use a very basic practice in his code that even school-level coders know how to use.
Manually setting all to 0 with 8 lines, those were set to 0 because it was ending the alarms. By setting them to 0, you're actually setting the alarm to off.
So what he's doing here is a classic example of deflection. He pretends the chatter asked, why do you set the alarms to 0, instead of the question, which was, why don't you iterate over them in a for loop?
Right.
A for loop is a very basic coding construct. If you're iterating through a consecutive set of numbers, you definitely want to use that. It's the perfect scenario for a for loop.
While also pointing out how he deflects from the real question whenever he doesn't know the answer.
But he pretends that he didn't understand the question, and then tries to answer something else.
And in case you're not familiar with programming, a commenter summed up Thor's flawed approach perfectly, stating, he is literally doing the equivalent of writing 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2.
Yeah.
Instead of writing 2 times 25. But that was just the tip of the iceberg, because while someone might argue that he simply misunderstood the criticism instead of purposefully deflecting it, that doesn't explain why he kept doing the same thing over and over again.
Sprite Spark is not a magic number. It's a direct reference to an asset file called Sprite Spark. This is how GameMaker allows you to link sprites and other assets. When you want to use a sprite, sound, or other object, you call it by name.
This is disingenuous at best and an obfuscation tactic at worst, because as you can see here, there's a lot of numbers here.
Yeah.
It's very obvious when I'm talking about a magic number. I'm talking about things like 1, 0, 15, 270, 360. I'm not talking about what my mouse just happens to be highlighting.
So like having good code here would be having that set to a variable. So when you read that, you see part size, effect drop, and you read it across, you kind of just know what's happening versus just having to know what those variables end up meaning. You can have them stored somewhere as constants or as something else or as attributes of an object, whatever.
Which is SPR Spark.
Almost as if it's a core part of the tactic he uses to sound more knowledgeable than he actually is.
He has this repeating theme where somebody gives him a question and then he pivots to something that somebody didn't even ask or address to try to get out of that question.
It's a good interview tactic, by the way. If you're doing that, you'll seem, they're like, oh, he just misunderstood, not he's trying to deflect. They're not going to assume.
Totally, they're not going to call you out on it.
No, they're going to be like, and then they'll explain it more, and like, hopefully you're like, oh, and then you can explain, like, he's so knowledgeable.
It becomes abruptly clear when he does address criticism directly and ends up being objectively wrong about everything he's saying.
Data types are not defined in GameMaker. You cannot define a Boolean. You can use 0, 1, or true, false at will. It doesn't do anything. None of this matters in this language.
The Boolean and the data types.
Okay.
So I'd like to interpret this in two ways, because what he could have been saying here when he says data types.
What language, what kind of old school language is freaking GameMaker if it doesn't have not only Booleans, which is just a true false variable. So if you set like a variable to a Boolean, it just means that it can equal true or false. And
sounds really basic.
Yeah, it's literally one of the most basic things there is, right? That's a 0 or a 1, by the way. That's why it's like 0 would be interpreted as false and 1 would be true. It's crazy basic.
Yeah,
and then
like fundamentally basic.
Data types as well would be like, you know, a Boolean would be a data type. And so like an integer, a string, a short, long, whatever. All those things are pretty basic coding constructs.
Are not defined is that you can't create your own custom data types, which is indeed wrong. You can create structures in GameMaker. It's in the documentation. Search up structs and constructors. But maybe he wasn't referring to structs, maybe he was referring to Booleans, which also just isn't true.
What's worse is that he could have easily avoided looking like a fool. All he had to do was actually read about the programming language he claims to be an expert at.
He makes the claim that you can't define a Boolean in GameMaker because GameMaker itself doesn't have a native Boolean type in its scripting language. In other words, it interprets reals as Booleans. Now, to reconcile the fact that he used a Boolean in his code with what he said, I decided to do what any developer would do, and that is I consulted the documentation. So if you go to data types in GameMaker,
there it is.
Oh, look at that. You are also provided with constants, true and false, which can always be used in your code to prevent any issues, should the native Boolean type be defined later.
This can either be interpreted as Thor
saying there's not data types is crazy, and then like data types pop up. Isn't that what he was saying before? And he said data types don't exist.
being incredibly lazy, or just simply not knowing Booleans exist in the language he's using. Either way, it calls into question every claim Thor has ever made about his coding skills to this point. As a comment on YouTube eloquently puts it, "Someone please take the shovel away from Pirate Software. This man won't stop digging a hole for himself." But what's most concerning is Thor's inability to take any kind of criticism, even when it's valid. He's set up a wall of denial in front of him and just disregards anyone that doesn't agree with him. That said, this next issue isn't something he can simply ignore, since he might even end up in court because of it. The bombshell dropped on July 5th, 2025, when a Twitter user by the name of Guy made a wild accusation against Thor, stating, "Pirate Software accidentally revealed his DMs with Kronos during the April 1st Twitch Giga Train, showing that they were boosting it to themselves. This is why the stream is unavailable to watch." The Giga Train he's talking about here is actually the record-breaking Twitch hype train Thor was able to reach on April 1st, 2024. A hype train, for those who don't know, is a Twitch feature that gets activated when a streamer starts receiving a lot of donations or gifted subs in a very short span of time. It then continues leveling up if the donations keep coming in, and the more a hype train progresses, the more rewards the donors unlock, including special emojis and gifts that they can use, incentivizing them to keep spending their money. As we mentioned earlier, Thor had already broken multiple hype train records before. However, all of them paled in comparison to the hype train on April 1st, 2024, as it managed to reach past level 105. This was a big milestone in Thor's career. It made headlines, and turned Thor into an even bigger name in the online gaming community. However, if what Guy was alleging on Twitter was true, it meant that this record wasn't as legitimate as it seemed, and the proof he presented was in the screenshot of the conversation Thor had with his head mod Kronos while his hype train was active. Right, let me know if you do. Bits is going to be the best way to do it due to the return if you need to save it. Bits rather than T3 subs. Tier 3 subs might be better, don't know. Bits is 82% return when you buy them in bulk. Have you bought any yet? I've done 100 tier 1 subs on my personal, ready to do 40 tier 3 subs on an alt. Can do bits instead or both. Did 50,000 bits at 20 seconds left. Okay, what is the alt account? Serendipitous Bean. Put simply, this seemed like Thor telling his own mod to donate from an alt account to artificially keep the hype train going, and even telling him to use bits since Twitch would only take an 18% cut from them. Now, it was still possible that some important missing context could give this conversation a completely different meaning. Unfortunately for Thor, someone uncovered the deleted Twitch VOD this screenshot was taken from, and Thor's reaction to it told his viewers everything they needed to know.
"I wished I could place my head between them and go full burr mode and make..."
What? What? What is this? Where is it? I'm gonna find this. I need to find your message. God damn it, click. Click, you garbage machine. What?
You don't have to bring it up on your main screen.
Who are you?
Right.
Why are you like this?
You kept it
Number
open
420. Deleted.
Not only does it prove that the screenshot is real, viewers could also see how panicked Thor became when he saw it, and how he immediately switched to a different chat before actually finding and deleting.
I thought it was up for a while actually, and like his nonchalant reaction.
I think that it wasn't that crazy, yeah.
Yeah, but also at this point, maybe he's just like so stupid, you know?
I think it's more of like
stimulus overload or something. I don't know.
No, I think overconfidence would be it.
Yeah, that'd definitely be it. Stupid wouldn't be the right.
Was it the Dunning-Kruger, where somebody that with like a low ability has high confidence?
Yeah. That's it.
Which was like, they found out about that. Where there was a guy trying to rob a bank. He thought that putting lemon juice on his face made it so he was invisible to cameras. So he just didn't wear any like face mask or anything. And he just went into a bank, robbed it, looked at the camera, smiled.
Dude's genius.
He was so confident that he was going to get away. It's like fucking idiots, dude. Just put lemon juice. It's the same way you just watch fucking National Treasure.
It's that easy.
the text-to-speech donation that came in. Thor tried to deny any wrongdoing on Twitter, stating, "Kronos used his own money to do this and asked if it was okay to do so. He wasn't paid for this or told to do it either. He's a grown man and can spend his money in whatever way he chooses. You can hate me all you like, but going after my staff is shit tier behavior." Even Kronos, his head moderator, came out with statements of his own denying the allegations, reading, "Said this before in January during the World of Warcraft drama. People contacted me and others about donating during the Hype Train record in 2024. This year I did less from the main and I did some from an alt. Removal of the VOD was, if I recall correctly, to prevent people from harassing donators as before. And while these explanations from both Thor and Kronos were still a bit suspicious, they were enough to end the controversy before it got any worse. Or at least, that's likely what they thought would happen. But on July 20th, 2025, someone replied to Guy's original Twitter post with yet another screenshot. This one showing the exact messages attached to the donation Kronos made with his alt account, Serendipitous Bean. It reads, "In real life friend of Kronos and excited that they are now free from corporate. Love your stream and what you do for people here. There aren't many cool or supportive streamers left once they get big like this. Stay cool, bud, and tell Kronos that Ben sends their regards." In other words, Kronos pretended to be his own friend, likely to avoid any suspicions from chat. However, what made this truly weird was the fake reaction Thor had when this donation came in.
Serendipitous Bean with 50,000 bits said, "IRL friend of Kronos and excited that they are now free from corporate.
I know.
Love your stream and what you do for people here. There aren't many cool or supportive streamers left once they get big like this. Stay cool, bud, and tell Kronos that Ben sends their regards."
I'm sorry you had to know Kronos in real life just like me.
Now, it's possible Kronos just wanted to hide his own identity to not receive hate for donating so much. However, that just explains the pretending to be his own friend part. It does not explain the shameless glazing that followed. Even if we ignore the actual message and just focus on the donation, it's still highly problematic. Not only did it manipulate the viewers into donating more by keeping the hype train alive, as Legal Mindset put it in his video, it could even bring some serious consequences for Thor, starting from Twitch itself.
So Kronos is the main moderator, and excited that they are free from corporate. Love your stream and what you do for the people here. There aren't many cooler supportive streamers left once they get big like this. Stay cool, bud, and tell Kronos that Ben sends their regards. So this person is clearly painting themselves as not Kronos, not the moderator, but a separate IRL friend of this moderator, which is extremely deceptive if you ask me.
Serendipitous Bean with 50,000 bits said, "IRL friend of Kronos and excited that they are now free from corporate. Love your stream and what you do for people here. There aren't many cool or supportive."
Thor has openly claimed plenty of times that he hires and actually pays all his mods.
I pay our moderators full-time. Not only do they have full-time pay, they're on salary, they also get full-time benefits too. Medical, dental, vision, everything. Like that's how this place stays cool.
So it wouldn't be difficult for Thor to reimburse Kronos as part of his monthly paycheck. Only now, it could get him suspended or even kicked off Twitch entirely. But that isn't even the worst of it. According to Legal Mindset, this has also opened Thor and his mod up to facing legal repercussions from the federal government as well.
So you need representation, omission, or practice that is likely to mislead a customer. So the practice would be, hey, donating bits from the sock puppet account. The consumer's interpretation is reasonable under the circumstances. So
under consumer protection laws, he might be liable for damages at least, and if it's like large enough, it could be like felonious. So if the amount of money from the hype train is enough, they'll basically not be misdemeanor charges. They could be felony charges. Oof. It's like, you know, if you steal a certain amount, you ever hear like those kinds of things, like the minimums and stuff. It's like another thing like that. So, given it was the record hype train, I bet it was a lot of money.
Full. With the number of people unsubscribing from his YouTube channel each month jumping from 100,000 plus when the Stop Killing Games controversy happened to over 200,000 after these new controversies came to light. It truly seems like Thor's reputation has reached a point where even if he apologizes now or tries to take accountability, it's pretty unlikely that he'll ever regain the audience he once had. But just when we thought he couldn't sink further, he somehow found a way. As I was making this video, Quinn Theo dropped another bombshell by interviewing Mr. Jason Thor Hall's ex-roommate, as well as the person who was in charge of his quality assurance work at Blizzard.
Hi, my name's Cynthia Hall. I go by Ludiana online. I am a lifelong artisan cosplayer. I worked for 5 years at Blizzard and then 8 years at Twitch. And I happen to work with Pirate Software at Blizzard as his wrangler on Diablo 3.
And what she had to say about Thor was shocking, but not all surprising at this point. According to Cynthia, Jason was straight up bad at his job. He would constantly slack off and browse Reddit all day, and even when he did work, Cynthia often had to come in and correct his mistakes.
So we're talking dealing with all the spawns in the game, all the boss testing, having to do all the smoke tests whenever there were new builds. That's end to end, make a character run through to skeleton king kill. Like that's just testing the builds. Whatever the task was for the day, it could just be spawning different monsters and testing their affixes to see how they perform. That easy. But he would just kind of create a character and idle in the client and read Reddit. That's literally what he did.
Dude, sounds great.
I was about to say, if it was just this, and like they said that's what I did, and I just kind of like coasted at Blizzard, and he had none of the other controversies, I'd be like, dude, I fucking like this guy. I'll apply to be a moderator. But now I hear all this, and I'm just like, oh, this isn't even that bad. I don't care if he's stealing big corporate money.
Yeah, no, not a chance.
He sat in front of me, and I was assigning the tasks. So not only did I see the work he was not doing, I saw what he was doing instead.
Worst of all, when Cynthia complained about his behavior to the higher-ups, nothing happened. Simply because Thor's father was also quite high up in the company. The same father, mind you, whose birthday is not even an afterthought for Thor these days.
Birthday, and you missed it. You didn't call me. Neither did your brother. You guys both ignored me for my birthday.
That isn't true. I sent you a text.
True. No, you did not.
Bullshit.
That was last year.
Bullshit.
I got nothing. You sent me one last year.
Did I send you one last year?
Breaking news, I don't care on his shirt too, and he's wearing the thickest fucking glasses. His dad is, well, okay, that's
my shitty son. Oh man.
Are you shitty? Yes.
It was last. Wow.
But that's only the tip of the iceberg. His memorable moments at the company also included him yelling at his co-workers for not playing like elite gamers for a charity event.
I was on his team for a league tournament, and he screamed at our team for apparently not gearing correctly to counter the other team, because we were just that bad. I mean, it's not like we were losing so severely because we all played League regularly. It was not that big of a deal, and we were all sleep deprived. It was very early in the morning after an overnight of playing games, and we're like, seriously, dude, you are raging at everybody, like our entire team. He was just yelling across the floor at everybody.
It's a charity event, correct?
It was a children's charity event.
But all of that pales in comparison to what he was like as a roommate.
That I came home and went into the kitchen. All the dishes.
He lived with them too?
Everywhere. Like the pans, still food in them on the stove, shit everywhere, food, countertops,
Literal
everything
shit.
everywhere. Like
See, this doesn't seem as bad.
Seems like an attack of character.
It just seems more normal, just bad roommate stuff or whatever. That doesn't seem like he's being like an asshole like the other stuff. And just saying like, you guys don't know code, and then just being really bad. So, yeah, he's hopefully done with. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who's somebody that you know that got canceled?
Ice Poseidon.
What happened? What was the canceling of Ice Poseidon? What did that end for him?
I did IRL streams, and I think he may have become a drug addict and like screwed over his friends and did racist things or something. I don't know. Don't quote me.
That's fun, huh?
Right.
All right, so he did racist things, potentially, allegedly.
Allegedly, you know, maybe not. I mainly just watched him during his RuneScape days.
Okay, yeah, I'm thinking. I knew. Actually, I should have kept this up. Mini Lad, a YouTuber.
Was he a Call of Duty YouTuber that like did kid stuff?
Well, yeah, that's exactly it. Is so Mini Lad, way back in the day. Oh yeah, dude, manipulation of Mini Lad, story of life, 7 million views. Jesus Christ. So I knew this guy. Years and years ago when he was with the Vanoss crew, and I was like making like shitty Call of Duty videos with people and stuff, and like Crispy Concords and who else? Hamsuda, who other people? I don't remember whose like usernames all and stuff, and like who continues to do it. But these are the people that I remember off the rip. The 407. Trying to remember other people. Wildcat, dude. Wildcat's got like fucking cars I wish I had, and just these guys are probably, well, I'm hoping they're living a great life. I'm hoping that they're very happy with it. But I know that being a media personality has its own stresses and stuff. I imagine being in the public eye like they are,
Gross.
Millions of people watching them has to be terrible. I mean, the fact that there's somebody making a documentary that's almost 2 hours long that has 7 million views about the downfall of somebody is just something to tell you. Like that's how you know you made it, is when there's a 2-hour documentary about your downfall.
Right. That's horrifying. Just documenting every fuck up you've ever made.
I think I still have them on Steam. I think I still have Craig. I remember his I'm telling you, we played games, dude. Like we didn't talk to children at all. He was a bigger Call of Duty YouTuber than I was at the time, but he wasn't like big enough to have like e-sluts that I don't know. I was never it was a weird, I was not about there was like a random time that we were in like what was his name? So Close to Toast, dude.
Cute.
So Close to Toast. Yeah, dude, literally this guy, I wonder if he still does stuff, but yeah, he was exactly this type of shit. He would beatbox. And I was in a random thing with him, like a Skype call or like a Google Hangout. I think it might have been a Google Hangout, because this is like 2013, 12-ish, somewhere around that time, maybe 14. Like I'm somewhere between like 17, 19, somewhere like that. And this guy and a bunch of other people were in a call. I got invited, and then fucking Keemstar comes in.
Keemstar.
DJ fucking Keemstar himself. And it was he was exactly as I expected in that moment, and it was pretty funny. I didn't really say much. I kind of just soaked it in. Like I said, I was literally like the nobody on the call. Like, where it's like, how do you get an invite? And I looked like a fucking child, dude. And he's like, "Who's the?" I was like, "Oh, I see you're grooming one or something." Is that's why Mini Lad like. I'm kidding. All right. On that note, see ya.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the All Serious Subjects podcast. If this got you going, got you off, or even thinking, hit the like button, share it, subscribe, drop a comment down below if you want us to talk about something. We're listening. Stay tuned, and we'll be here. Until next time. Bye.